After Anakin's duel with Obi-Wan on Mustafar, he was extremely injured, so badly in fact, Kenobi believed he would die, but ultimately left it up to the will of the Force to decide his fate, rather than finishing him there. Across the galaxy, Sidious was searching for Yoda after the two had been separated following a magnificent and intense duel, the likes of which the galaxy had never seen before. Sidious himself was determined to personally seek Yoda out and finish the Grand Master, and he determined if he could not succeed, he would demolish the entire Senate building to ensure the Jedi met his fate there on that day. But something pulled Sidious away from searching for Yoda. Through the Force, Sidious felt a tremor as his new apprentice came into grave danger. Sidious felt Anakin's, now Darth Vader's, imminent defeat, and thus departed Coruscant to search for his new apprentice as quickly as possible. When Vader was struck down by Obi-Wan, he came very close to death. So close in fact, only his hatred was keeping him in the physical world, as the dark side pulled the Sith Lord to life, but even that was fading quickly. Upon finally finding Darth Vader, Sidious immediately began tapping into the dark side, in hopes of saving his apprentice's life. This quote from the Revenge of the Sith novelization illustrates this. The Sith Lord lowered the limbless man tenderly to the cool ground above, and laid his hand across the cracked and blackened mess that had once been his brow, and set his will upon him. Live, Lord Vader, live, my apprentice, live. While Palpatine's master Plagueis had taken the secret to bringing those back from the dead to his grave, he had taught Palpatine some about how to use such an ability. Palpatine utilized what he had learned to sustain Anakin, as his life was slowly drifting away, and he was extremely near to death when Palpatine reached him. As the dark side is a powerful flame, Master manipulated it to will his apprentice to live, to use his hatred for the Jedi and for Kenobi to force his life to remain. Though having a similar effect, this dark side ability was very much the opposite of the Jedi ability Force Heal. Force Heal was a power that allowed one's soul to better be at peace, which would promote a better healing process for a subject. By using the Force to aid the soul, the body would follow. What Palpatine was doing was quite the opposite. As opposed to healing Anakin's greatly damaged soul, he used his own anger to swirl the darkness within, upsetting and enraging him to the point where he refused to die. Instead of aiding Vader in alleviating his pain through the Force, he exposed him to its full power, having him feel every inch of his utterly destroyed body, and using that pain to fuel the dark side, and in turn, kindle his dimming life. The key difference between the two abilities, as Vader would later discover, is that this version of Force Heal was not a permanent fix to any injury, rather intensifying it momentarily to ensure life goes on. An easy way to look at it would be similar to adrenaline in real life. When one undergoes a serious injury, their body is surged with adrenaline, so much so, in many cases, subjects don't feel injured at all, when in fact they really are quite hurt. While they may feel, for lack of a more accurate word, better, they are still very much badly injured. Just the intense energy their body produces following the injury allows them to do tasks they couldn't normally following such a traumatic event. But of course it does eventually wear off, and the full damage can be felt. The case with Vader and Palpatine's use of the dark side is very similar to this. What Palpatine was doing was not mending his apprentice, but above all, ensuring he survived. Once on Palpatine's shuttle, the Sith Lord also used other means in keeping Vader alive. Vader was placed in the rear of the shuttle in a medical capsule, as Palpatine sat beside him, using his personal med kit to keep his apprentice from slipping away. Sidious also likely may have used darkside rituals on Vader to ensure that he survived, as well as using more conventional medicine. The goal was to keep Vader stable until they could reach Coruscant and get him some better treatment. Sidious also tapped into his own inner turmoil to fuel Vader, as Palpatine faced quite possibly the largest disappointment in his entire life. Unlike his other apprentices Maul and Tyrannus, Sidious cared for Vader, not in the conventional sense as a person, but what he could offer him, and the power he commanded. For one of the few times in the Dark Lord's life, other than himself, he genuinely cared for the well-being of another, and it was this will that caused him to focus so hard on saving Vader. Vader, however, was not to go unpunished. Upon reaching Coruscant, although offered, Sidious told the medical droids to keep Vader awake during the entire procedure for punishment for his failure and because he felt it would make him stronger. The way Sidious kept Vader alive is supremely interesting and would also be used by Vader himself in the years to follow. In several cases, when Vader's cybernetics have been extremely damaged, he has used the dark side to force certain body parts to continue to function. At one point, Vader's respirator was damaged, and he used the dark side to momentarily heal his lungs so that he could continue fighting. Unlike the light side, pain and anger fuels the darkness, and in a very twisted way, when Sith or Darksiders are at their most damaged, they are closest to the power that dictates their lives. So how do you feel about this explanation? Do you find it interesting and a nice touch, or did you interpret Anakin's survival as different than this, and not needing Palpatine to use the dark side to help? If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, as it helps the channel out a great deal and I really appreciate it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't yet, maybe consider subscribing to ensure you stay up to date with everything Star Wars related. If you have any lore topics or questions you want answered or addressed, do not hesitate to tweet them at me at tmarvelouswave on Twitter, or leave a comment and I will try my best to answer or make a full video dedicated to that topic. Thanks again so much for watching, may the Force be with you, and have a great day.